Following Tuesday's Indiana primaries, both Senator Ted Cruz and Governor John Kasich have dropped out of the race for president. Donald Trump is the presumptive Republican nominee. What does this mean for the election in November? And more importantly, what would a Trump presidency look like? We're answering these questions, touching on scandal and controversy in European governments, and breaking down food crises on 2 continents. This is The Loop. Early Wednesday, Trump wasted no time turning his attention to the general election, and Hillary Clinton, who, though she has yet to clinch the Democratic nomination for president, has already been the nominee for over a year in the hearts and soundbites of politicians and journalists, and for over 60 years in her own place where her heart must be. Tellingly, Trump sat down with former Newsweek writer Edward Klein, the author of such, quote, fact-challenged tomes as The Truth About Hillary, The Problem with Hillary, and the children's classic Baby's First Hillary Conspiracy, Goodnight Benghazi. The thought being, of course, that Klein would impart some sort of secret, scandalous knowledge that Trump could use to crush Clinton in the general, which is pointless. First of all, if Edward Klein knew anything else about Hillary Clinton, he would fatten it up to about 100 pages and publish it as a book. Secondly, what secret knowledge do you need to immolate an opponent mere inches away from getting indicted by the FBI? You'd think that'd be enough for the Donald to take her out, but he's taking no chances. He's hired a crack team of experts to aid his campaign. Take, for example, the man leading his search for a running mate, the one, the only, Dr. Ben Carson. Mr. Trump, if you want to win the presidency so badly, why did you hire a man whose most memorable political accomplishment is coining the phrase, the fruit salad of his life, apparently while in a months-long political fugue state? You have no way of knowing whether or not he's awake or Rip Van Winkling you. And also, legitimately less than 24 hours after you insinuated that his father was involved in the Kennedy assassination, you told The Hill that you'd consider Ted Cruz as your running mate? Lion Ted? Old Soupy himself? The star of America's new favorite GIF? Now, I'm sure that both of these moves are meant to ingratiate Donald Trump with the bases of those candidates, who Trump rubbed the wrong way during the primary, and that there's a larger strategy at play here. Key Republican figures like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell came out in support of his party's nominee, gleefully claiming that Trump can prevent, quote, a 3rd term of Barack Obama, which would only make sense if, you know, Barack Obama was running for president, but I digress. Donald Trump is looking ahead to the White House and has outlined the first 100 days of his presidency in recent interviews. His first priority is to fill the empty Supreme Court seat with a justice in the mold of the late Antonin Scalia, the intractable conservative who previously held it. This would be an early victory that would greatly please party conservatives who feel that Trump doesn't reflect Republican values. On Inauguration Day, Trump would attend a lavish ball or two like any new president. However, according to the candidate, he'd spend most of the day on the phone threatening heads of major companies with nasty punishments should they shift any jobs out of the country. That is, when he's not rescinding Barack Obama's executive orders regarding immigration. Which, hey, that doesn't sound so bad. Sure, that Scalia clone would spell trouble for women's health and gay rights for decades to come, but the rest of it sounds like an active president fighting for at least a version of America. Now, at the end of the first 100 days, he says, the Affordable Care Act would be on the way to being repealed. Bye-bye, healthcare. He also says that the wall for the Mexican border will be designed, and that, in case you forgot, his ban on all Muslim immigration would be in place. Oh, right. That. Time will tell if Trump can be elected president, but just a reminder that 2 racially and religiously motivated policies are major priorities for him. Food for thought. Meanwhile, across the pond, 3 different European governments are in upheaval. In the United Kingdom, it's been revealed that the Conservative Party failed to declare £38,000 in expenses used to secure 29 parliament seats this past election, calling the validity of the ruling party into question. The money was spent on their notorious battle bus campaign, which sounds like an incredibly metal, badass idea until you find out that it's just buses that delivered pro-Tory volunteers to key political districts to mount a door-to-door campaign. Oh, so like a bus. You failed to declare a bus. That's like taking a test and forgetting to put your name on it. Costs you nothing but time to do it, and to exclude it is, in a word, dumb. It's unknown at this time if any criminal charges will be brought against the party, but the Electoral Commission is actively investigating any misconduct. Meanwhile, in Spain this past Tuesday, King Felipe VI dissolved parliament and called for a new election, which I had no idea a king could do, but makes sense because he's a king. In 2016, king. The results of the previous election were so divided that they were considered inconclusive, making for a turbulent political landscape. This is unprecedented in Spain's history, as they've only been a democracy since 1970. A democracy with a king at that, and it shows how much trouble the nation is in. They currently have an unemployment rate of 21%, and Parliament has devolved into a blame game over who is responsible for leaving Spain without a stable government. I don't know You, the government, who could be trying to govern instead of arguing over who's more wrong, sounds a lot like our government. You know what, George Washington? Maybe if you'd just let us crown you king, we'd have the power to give our government an overhaul. But no, we had to be a democratic republic, you cedar-toothed dummy. And finally, in Turkey, a literal fist fight broke out on the floor of parliament where punches and bottles were thrown alike between the ruling Justice and Development Party and the People's Democratic Party. The cause? Legislators got heated over a new bill that would make it possible for legislators to be prosecuted for criminal charges for the first time in the nation's history. So, wait. Who were the ones throwing punches? If they were afraid of prosecution, they must be guilty, right? Well, it's a little more complicated than that. The bill was introduced by the ruling party, whose president is widely known to be corrupt, and the People's Development Party believes that the bill is actually an excuse to suppress dissent against those in power. Well, damn. The question remains, will this bill be passed? If it is, will the People's Democratic Party be able to bring charges against the Justice and Development Party, or does this river of justice only flow one way? Time will tell. And lastly, in the world of food, the global rice trade is in crisis after production declined this year by the largest margin since 2003. India, the world's largest rice producer, is in the middle of a massive heat wave, shriveling crops, while Thailand, the second largest producer, is in the second year of drought. Meanwhile, Vietnam, the third largest producer, is in trouble as the Mekong River, which irrigates many farms, has run dry. These three countries alone make up 60% of global rice production, normally producing 43 million tons of rice per year. But this year, that number will drop by 19 million tons, or 44%. Rice prices are expected to skyrocket, so if you thought that your Chipotle burrito was already overpriced, prepare for some pain in your pocketbook as well as your butt. I don't know if this is the place for a poop joke, but I put one there. Let me know in the comments if you like that. Meanwhile, CRF Frozen Foods, a frozen fruit and vegetable producer for Costco, Trader Joe's, Safeway, Vons, and other grocery outlets, has recalled all of their frozen fruit and vegetable products produced since 2014 due to an outbreak of listeria, a form of bacteria that causes death in 20% of those infected with it. 7 people have been infected so far and 2 have died. The full list of foods is available on the FDA's website, which we've provided among the links below, and I highly recommend looking through to make sure that you and your loved ones are safe from this deadly infection. And to close, McDonald's is testing 2 new menu items in their latest attempt to stay relevant, much like your dad joining Bumble. Gross. This follows multiple years of decline in US markets as people remember, oh right, McDonald's. The first are Gilroy garlic fries, or fries tossed with fresh pressed garlic and Parmesan cheese. They look like this, and should be at least more palatable than their last attempt at garlic fries, which were just fries in a bag that you could pour powder into and shake. The other is a, quote, all-natural chicken McNugget, which lacks any of the preservatives used in current McNuggets. Fun fact, McNuggets have 32 different ingredients packed into every delicious bite. I can appreciate McDonald's move towards slightly healthier junk food, but at the end of the day, it's still a friggin' McNugget. Nice try, Ronald. And that's it, everyone. I hope you feel informed. I hope you learned something. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about President Trump, scandal and corruption in Europe, and what's going on in the world of food. Also, The Loop is continuing to evolve and shift, and I thank everybody who gave me your thoughts last week. Continue to let me know down in the comments what you want to see out of this show so I can continue to move it towards something we all can be happy with and be excited about. I'm Matt Lieberman, and until next time, you're in The Loop. Thanks for watching. This past Tuesday, Hillary Clinton further cemented her lead over Bernie Sanders in the 2016 Democratic primary.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was a little tired.